Hot takes, get your hot takes, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chris Talks Cal, and today I am very excited to finally get to talk to all of you. Every week, the comment section absolutely makes my day. I love hearing your guys' thoughts and opinions, and nothing I love more than a good old hot take. So today, we're going to be reacting, we're going to be seeing what's going on, and we're going to have a little hotness meter to see just how hot it gets in this exact room right now. Starting off with a moderately hot Negabear take from Noah Prozen, who's not impressed with the offensive line offseason. And no, I understand your concern, particularly with some of the difficulties that Cal's had for really the better part of the last 10 years at the offensive line position. And I understand that we didn't bring in a bunch of shiny 4-stars in the transfer portal, but what we do bring back is continuity and really quality coaching. A wise man once said that the three most important parts to any offensive line are technique, chemistry, and size. And the first of those three pillars, in my opinion, is always a direct reflection of the offensive line coach. In 2024, we had 51 sacks allowed, good for one of the worst offensive lines in program history, ruining what was a very talented team. Because, well, there was no coach. We had no offensive line coach. It was crazy. We had an offensive coordinator, Mike Bloach, who was trying to run double duty. If you ever played football, that was clearly never going to work. And you saw what a difference going from 51 sacks to 31 sacks allowed just in 1 year without a strong portal class last year, due to Famika Anai. And the culture he set. The type of atmosphere he set at practice, leaving no stone unturned, going at these guys hard.
If you won't guard the mentality, I fucking will. Because I care. I care. I need push on the interior. Okay, I need push. Get your ass off the fucking ball in the interior. We drive the line of scrimmage.
As the season went on, Cal's offensive line, I think, was constantly improving, to the point where they really ended the end of the season on a crescendo with phenomenal performances against SMU and Hawaii, where we were actually kind of pushing them around. If you remember, Kendrick Raphael had real holes to run through in those last two games against two quality opponents. And now you bring in Vianney Talamaipao, another accomplished offensive line coach, to pair with Famika and I, bringing us going from 0 offensive line coaches 2 years ago to 2 accomplished ones now. I think these guys are going to be getting coached up really hard over the offseason. You're going to see some quality technique in the 2026 season. As for chemistry, I'm very happy to say that Frederick Williams, Siape Vaticani, Bastian Finey, Tyson Ruffins, these are guys that have been in the program for a long time at this point and have really had the chance to gel. They were thrown, all of them, all 4 of them, thrown into the fire early, honestly, earlier than they've been prepared to do so, but it's now for this moment. Anytime you've got a left guard, center, right guard, all returning from last year, all guys have been in the program for many years, I think you're set up to have pretty good chemistry, at least on the interior of the offensive line. And in terms of size, one thing I love about having Jason Novak is that they're pretty much guaranteed to put on at least a pound or two over the offseason, if not more. Offensive linemen, they just get bigger with age, more physically mature as they grow into their massive frames. And then in terms of size on the exterior, with the new portal additions we brought in, whether it's Jacob Arup, Mikhail Raves, Jimothy Williams, these guys are massive as well. So across the board, we're getting size, technique, and chemistry, just like the 3 dominoes that I said, and I think we're set to improve. So no Prozen, love you dog, but I'm going to say cold take. Pumping up the hotness meter is Arya Desai, who thinks that Fernando Mendoza betraying us was actually one of the best things for our program. Now let's unpack this statement slowly. Fernando Mendoza, did he betray Cal? It's a question that the fan base grapples with as we watch him on Jimmy Fallon and we watch him win the Heisman Trophy from afar without us. But to really understand Fernando's decision, it's important that we get some context. Let's actually think about his time here at Cal. Fernando Mendoza, I think it's fair to say, was never really Justin Wilcox's guy. After bursting onto the scene in 2023, about halfway through the season, going into 2024, a lot of schools would have just handed Fernando Mendoza the keys and said, "You're our guy, you've captured the fan base's attention, let's go." But not Cal. What Cal did was bring in one of the most hyped up transfer portal prospects and spent a lot of NIL, not an offensive line coach, but on Fernando's replacement, Chandler Rogers, who was the all-time passing leader at North Texas as a junior, a guy that Wilcox had been looking at for 2 years, and someone who had interest from Baylor, who was a 4-star prospect, and it was considered a really good get at the time, and going into the season was actually the favorite to start. And even though Mendoza thoroughly outplays Rogers all throughout fall and spring camp, Wilcox refuses to come out and name him the starter. Even after Mendoza has an amazing game against Auburn, 19 for 21 in the first half. This is the biggest win in Cal recent memory, honestly, with the whole you just lost to the woke agenda era. After the game, they give Wilcox a chance to end the quarterback competition, and this is what he says.
The quarterback competition's kind of over? Well, he obviously did a great job today. You know, I think what we're doing right now is enjoying this win. I also think Chandler came in and gave us a really valuable couple reps there. Wish we could have got him one more shot on that around play, but he had a huge first down for us. So I really like the quarterback room, but I think obviously Fernando, especially in the first half, did a heck of a job.
And so this becomes a reoccurring theme of Fernando Mendoza working his ass off all season, getting killed behind a crappy O-line, and then at important junctures in the game, seeing Chandler Rogers shoehorned into the offense, subbing Fernando out, particularly in a game-winning drive against Pittsburgh on 3rd and 9. They sub Chandler Rogers in, much to the chagrin of Mendoza. So it's towards the end of the season now, and the disappointing losses are starting to mount up. And that's when Chiron Chiave Songopulatele takes his ill-fated visit to Berkeley and tours a day along with Fernando Mendoza. Now, I'm not going to entertain or comment on the rumors of Fernando allegedly poisoning the well with JKS, making him decommit. But what I will say is that JKS's number one priority, we know this, was to start his freshman year. And as crazy as it sounds, JKS is a smart guy. And I think he realized that it was actually going to be easier to start over at Oregon, over Dante Moore, than it was at Cal over Fernando Mendoza. He's a smart guy. He saw how good Mendoza was. He saw Abba getting played in the streets. He saw everyone eating their Mendoza burritos. And, he realized that this town isn't big enough for the two of us. So after JKS decommits following the tour, there's a heavy amount of rumors online and backlash from the fan base and the internal recruiting department against Mendoza, accusing him of scaring off JKS. Now at this time, and I think rightfully so, Mendoza's thinking, really, man? You're mad at me? I've done everything I can this season to carry this team. And I'm sorry that I'm not all that particularly thrilled that, once again, there's not enough money for a Wilcox buyout. There's not enough money for an offensive line coach. There's not enough money for new players in the portal. There's not enough money to give me the adequate support that I need. But once again, there is enough money to bring in my replacement. And so he leaves. Not only does he leave, he actually sits out against SMU, which everything we know about Fernando Mendoza's character, him sitting out and quitting on the team before the season ended, was just so out of character for him. But I think he really was just fed up. So he leaves. He hits the portal, and he bounces. He goes to Indiana to play with his brother, to be closer to his mom, who's dealing with an illness. And, he lives out his dream. But here's where the domino effect kicks in. After Mendoza leaves, Chiron Chiave Songopulatele immediately recommits back to Cal. Within a matter of weeks, he unenrolls from Oregon, comes back. We actually upgrade at the position. There was a method to the madness from Wilcox. This Hawaiian kid was worth every penny, worth all the early morning scoutings, worth reaching out to him as an 8th grader, worth pissing off even the Heisman winner, because JKS is the chosen one. He's going to bring us to greatness. I know there's people watching this who are saying, what are you talking about? You actually think that some random freshman who went 7-6 is better than the future number 1 pick, than the Heisman winner? Don't take my word for it. This is Todd McShay, 30-year QB guru, talking about both quarterbacks.
I watched the tape on Mendoza, and I'm like, oh, I like this guy. He's not there yet, but there's he's 6'5", he's 220, he's mobile, he's got a smooth stroke, he's got a live arm. He's somewhere between a Justin Herbert and a Daniel Jones. But some things are just labors of love. I saw crossfield throws on a rope. I saw rolling right drilling a strike as a left-hander down the left rail. I saw hitting spots in between coverages. I saw back shoulder fades to number 81, Landon Morris as a tight end. Wait, is that Aaron Rodgers and Devontae? And then he caps the game off. It's like walk-off game-winning touchdown pass from a weird angle, and the kuyans to make that throw. The future at quarterback in college football.
So I don't blame Mendoza for leaving. Honestly, I don't. There's no, in my heart of hearts, I don't blame him. And he's been so gracious to Cal in so many ways, thanking us in his Heisman speech, mentioning the Cal algorithm leading up to his national championship run, and most importantly, his success highlighted to Cal fans everywhere that it can be done. It can. If Indiana can win with Mendoza, then why can't we with someone who's even better than him? Why not? Genuinely, why not? It's exposed that we don't need to settle for mediocrity, that we had greatness right in the building, we just didn't treat it correctly. I mean, it really is just like real life. What happens when your super hot girlfriend publicly dumps you and goes on to do great things? Does that not light a fire under your ass? Does that not give you the motivation to treat your next girlfriend right? And are we not treating our next one right? Are we not buying her the flowers? Are we not buying her the offensive line? Are we not giving him all the NIL money in the world so that he doesn't leave us again? Are we not doing the things that we should have done for Mendoza? We're doing them for JKS. All jokes aside, I think Mendoza leaving was a good thing for Cal. And I think you're going to see us, hot take of mine, to similar heights that he's at in Indiana right now next year. Now, this next hot take comes from Nate Rogers, who says Evans Hall is an icon of the campus and shouldn't be torn down. And honestly, Nate, I'm going to have to agree with you. I think this is a hot take. I like the way Evans stood the test of time. It's linked together the generations of Cal, and everyone can remember walking into their first STEM class, their first heavy-duty math class, into that just square, menacing building, and knowing, oh yeah, this is going to be a long semester. In an era of so many new buildings and such radical rehaul of the campus, right? We got a new engineering center, we got a new Moffitt renovation, we got a new housing unit, we got a new anchor house, the gateway. Evans has still stood its status as just kind of an eyesore right on campus, right on the most beautiful part of the Glade. It's just stacked right there. And in a way, I kind of love it. You know, Evans, it's got the coldest water, it's got stairs that are confusing, but that just kind of makes sense. And I hope it sticks around. So I'm going to say hot take, Nate. Next up, we got Lucas Jude Magan, who doesn't think that Chris Bell should be in the starting lineup for Cal basketball. And Lucas, I'm going to have to say cold take. I understand Chris Bell can be a little frustrating with his lack of finishing ability, sometimes his poor shot selection, and sometimes he's a little prone to mental mistakes, but I think Mark Madsen deserves a ton of credit for the way that he's coached up Chris Bell this year. Watching the differences between him at Syracuse and Cal is tremendous. He's really improved his shot selection. He knows that when he's not feeling it, he doesn't force it like the way he used to. And when he is hot, this guy can literally win you games. He's complete firecracker on offense. And then the most underrated part about his game is actually his defense, where he's quietly been our best wing defender. I also just love the swagger that he brings. Like with that game-winning dunk against Stanford, underrated athleticism, and he's just talking that shit. He's a California guy, he's from Concord, and he's going to let you know about it, man, and I love that. And then additionally, last part to finish up the take is who would you put over him? You want DJ Campbell? I love DJ Campbell, don't sleep on him, but he's a little undersized to play at the 3. I'm kind of done with the Nolan Dorsey experiment for now. A little frustrated with him. You can't start him. So who would you start over him? You can't go. You want to go 3 guards with Symmetry Carr? I personally think that Chris Bell deserves a lot of flowers. I really like watching him play. Honestly, he's one of my favorite players, and I think that he deserves his starting spot for sure. Now, our final hot take is a very important one, coming from Prozan again, where he's talking about the issues of fractured tailgating and the lack of a true game day experience in Berkeley. This is a really good take in the past, and I'll get to it. I agree. You go to Cal. What do you want when you come to a college football game? You want a tailgate. You want energy. You want the fans around you. You want to go meet up with your old pals, and you want to go ham. You know, you want to play some music. You want to grill some food. You want to watch other games. And the problem is, Berkeley doesn't have a lot of parking lots. If you go to the Ole Miss, there's the Grove. If you go to Louisville, they got miles of parking lot where everyone's meeting up, everyone's boozing, everyone's happy. And Cal, there just isn't that. Until now, with Ron Rivera and Rich Lyons' most proud achievement, most important contribution, and that is the birth of Oski's Village in the Glade. This is a new setup. It has capacity of 5,000 to 10,000 and only started just last year, where there's been heavy investment from the school to turn the Glade, and they're calling it Oski's Village, into the place for Cal fans to pregame and Cal fans to tailgame at on game day. So this new invention that set it up on the Glade just started last year, and it replaces Tailgate Town on Maxwell Field. Tailgate Town had a lot of issues, in my opinion. One, it just simply wasn't that nice an environment. You're on a turf field in the hot sun versus on the Glade now in the most beautiful part of campus. Also, the capacity was more limited. You're surrounded by it's a netted field. Everyone's sitting. Was the other thing. You're at tables. And a lot of the tables are reserved for donors. So it wasn't really all that inviting to the casual fan just coming by on an odd game day to meet up with other fans. The Glade is going to be entirely different. They've got food trucks, they've got tents, they've got inflatable things for your kids to play on, they've got live entertainment. They brought in Lil Russell. They spent a lot of money bringing entertainment. They got the Right for California guys doing a live show for everybody. They got Ron Rivera walking around. Cal legends are coming by. Marshawn Lynch is running around on a golf cart. The capacity is 5,000 to 10,000, and the school has spent a lot of money on this. Rich Lyons really pushed for it, so I'm good authority for people who work for the school that this has been something that they wanted. But you talk about regime change, and you talk about the impact of having the new chancellor. This is something that they wanted to do, but they couldn't, because the campus, it was kind of a push comes to shove. The campus grounds, were concerned about disturbing the peace in the area and messing up the grass on the Glade, did not want this to happen. And so we're not willing to spend the type of money and all the investment that it would take just to do something just for engagement, right? Because they're not charging any money to go there, and yet they're spending all this money on food trucks and tents and whatnot. But Rich Lyons and Ron Rivera, they recognize that it's worth it. They recognize that this has been an issue, and they're solving it with Oski's Village. So Cal fans, I could encourage you, all of you to come. Some of you may have been there last year, but they got big plans for it next year. They got more entertainment. And come by, man. The Cal will be there. Right for California will be there. I'll be there. All games, all 7 games. I promise I'll be there. It's going to be super fun, and I'm really excited to see that as the new tailgating spot for Cal fans on game days. Thank you so much for watching, guys. That's going to be all for today. If you have more hot takes and I didn't get to yours in this video, leave another in the comments. I love all you guys so much. So thank you guys. Have a great day, and go Bears.